6. Who's there? Who is there? Who's there? Who is there? Who is there? Who is there? Who is there? Okay. Hi, Promise. Okay, I guess Promise can't speak up now. Okay, cool. All right, so I think we've stayed a bit longer. We're not meant to stay this long, to be sincere, but we're here now, so we'll kick off. All right, so Father, thank you. We give you praise for this wonderful session. Have your way. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. All right, cool. So today's session is actually the week 6. And this week 6 is called the wrapping up session, which is pretty much looking into what we covered from week 1 to week 5. And as I said, I mentioned something that had to do with what we started with in week 1, which happens to be the financial psychology side of things. And that's the bedrock of past finance generally. Anything that has to do, be it money or whatsoever the case, is even a habit. Like if psychologically the person is not straight, it's going to become an issue, which we all know of. So when it comes to the area of also managing money or saving, managing, and building wealth, it's also the same thing. If the foundation is not right, it's always an issue. So that's where we started from. I always like starting from there, because no matter what you build, it doesn't matter what you build. The reality remains that if psychologically the person is not sound, there will be issues. And that's the truth, or let me say the fact. All right, cool. So not much of an introduction. Myself, I've introduced myself from the beginning: week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. So this is week 6. I think this wouldn't be an exception. So I'm a BA, a business analyst by profession, my 9 to 5. And my call, what I do in the area of finance is I'm a financial education instructor. I run the seed finance, which is, I see myself as a steward, as I always say. It's more of like a calling. So something that is a calling is your work. What you do. My 9 to 5, I see it as a job, but what your calling is your work. So this is my work, right? Just want to see the number of lives that can be transformed over time. All right, cool. So the objective for today is to connect all the 5 pillars. We're going to be very quick kind of today. Is to be able to more of like to connect all the 5 pillars. And what that means is looking at it from budgeting, savings, investing, protection, legacy, putting everything into one simple, repeatable money system. That's pretty much what it is. If one can basically just get the understanding. Let me put it that way. Okay, cool. So the journey so far, as I said, week 1, we cover financial psychology, which is more of like to understand how mindset kind of drives financial behavior. And we know behavioral issue is one of the most difficult things to change. Habit sits within behavioral, how to more of like how to behavioral change. A habit also sits within, because it's what you've done over and over and over. You grew up with it pretty much like in a system, as values, as beliefs, or whatsoever the case is. It is still the same when it comes to money, as I said earlier. Second, which is week 2, we covered budgeting and budgeting that works, which is more of like to learn to budget effectively for financial direction. Without budgeting, it's like building a house without a foundation. Financial psychology is also the foundation, which is you digging the layout. That's the psychology. The foundation itself, which is the budgeting, is laying the blocks in the foundation and knowing how deep you want it to be. Then week 3, we covered automation, which is centered around smart savings. So how you automate your savings, making sure you don't put yourself under stress. Some people will tell you, I am saving. I saved this amount this month, and then I don't know if I saved last month. I can't remember if I saved 3 months ago, but I put something in sha. We are used to that, and it's not a problem. It is I would say it's part of one not knowing, so which is in a state of ignorance, right? Not that people wanted to, but if you don't know, you can't do. It is what you know you can do. So that's pretty much what we covered, how to set up automated saving system for consistency so that you set it up, right? And you just leave it. It runs itself. In as much as you earn, when you earn, you it saves itself by itself. Or it just takes the money from your account and helps you to save it in whatever savings account that you've opened. So it does that for you, and you can easily use that to save up your emergency fund, right? Then the fourth week, which is week 4, we covered investing fundamentals. And why I call it fundamentals is just um the the first layer. That's the most basic part of investing. You don't need to, as they say, there is this saying by major investment homes, right? Investment household, BlackRock, JP Morgan, down to even professional investors. They always say, like, in most cases, most professional um, investors or retail investors that try to invest in their own way and follow their own rules. In most cases, when they put it side by side with the S&P 500, the S&P 500 kind of performs better than most fund managers, right? However, there are still some exceptions of people who know how to, but how many? But the most basic side, how to just set it up as easily as possible and let it also run it the way it runs it when you save. That's just the same pattern. It's just for one to know what to do and just uh, put the dots in and then dot it and then tease it, kind of a thing. And so it's more of like grabbing just the basic investment principles, for growth. And then week 5 was last week, where we looked into wealth protection. We covered things that had to do with insurance. We covered wills, why it is important to have a will in place, and the rest. And we were able to see the light in it, because many families gone through those kind of mess. And not that they wanted it, just like I said, but because of ignorance, it's difficult. For what you don't know, you can't overcome, right? It is what you know you can basically conquer. If you don't know it, you struggle with it until the light comes. All right. So I think I've done a little bit of explanation on that. I wanted to just run it quickly before, but I'll leave it at that. All right. So this is just I'll call it a thought, right? Let's put it at that, as a thought. Now you've built all the pillars. Now it's time to connect them into one system that runs your money. Because at the end of the day, we're calling it finance, personal finance, whatever the case is, what you're working with is your money. Aside your strategy in place, be it long term, be it short term, whatever the case is, what you're working with, your fuel is the money. Without the money in place, all the strategy is basically is gone to waste, right? So instead of your emotions running it. Cool. Now, why a money system matters. And what I said to do was to break it into 2 forms. So one, we can see it from when you have a weighing scale, a scale, when you place something on a scale, a weighing scale, it depends on which one weighs more. It tilts to a particular area where there is more weight, right? So now it's saying that without a system, meaning if you don't have a system in place that you kind of implement to run how you manage your money, like a strategy in place, um, tools in place, a workflow kind of in place that you use to kind of run how you manage your money. If that system is not in place, what happens? One, financial instability, just as we mentioned. I don't know if anyone is grabbing what I'm trying to say. You hear? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir.
All right, cool. So I don't want to. So
Yeah.
it doesn't look as if Well, wait, am I
So
recording though?
we're following. We're following.
I just wanted to be sure if I'm actually recording. Okay, I think so.
We are following,
All right.
sir.
All right, cool. Is that promise? Oh, Peter. Okay, Peter. Okay, cool. No worries. So, all right. So, without that system in place, if you don't have a money system more like in place, what happens is you experience financial instability, meaning there wouldn't be consistency. One, two, you really cannot hit your goal because you don't have one set in place. You don't even know if there is need for you to have emergency funds, for example, as little as it is. And if you don't have a budget in place, like a working budget in place, um, there wouldn't be any guidance, there wouldn't be any direction. It's as saying you have a symptom of a particular illness, but you haven't gone to the hospital to die or for them to be able to diagnose it. That will happen. There will be instability. You wouldn't know what comes in, what goes out. You complain all the time. You find yourself in a place of in a state of mess because things are not structured. So you have random savings, just as I mentioned about having your savings automated kind of a thing. You do this month, and then you do the fourth month, and then you forget if you did it the second or the third month, and then you think about it to say, did I? I think I did. Oh, I didn't do as much. Okay, let me put in something. So it's just going to be random, right? The same thing will happen, random investment. So today they tell you, oh, gold is really doing well. Oh, gold. Then you buy without having any structure kind of in place. You have no goal set. Um, one of my mentors, actually, Apostle Arome, will say something. He will say that there you can measure the speed of light. You can measure speed itself. You can measure distance, right? But you cannot measure darkness. He said, if you have heard or seen where darkness is measured, let me know. Because it's just a state of, it's like a state of death, right? Like something that is not existing. That's what darkness is. But as soon as light comes into a space, that aha moment will come like, whoa, yeah, I know it now. Like just like that blind man, right? That they healed, like Peter and John, they healed. They said, money and gold and silver I have none, right? But that which I have. And then when the healing came, that the eyes got opened, he saw Peter and John. And then when they took him to the Pharisees and then they wanted to question him, all he said was, before I was blind, but now I can see. You understand? So things that he couldn't see before, he was able to see them, and he was bold enough to stand tall to say, this, I can see this. And I know that it is through this person that I got my healing, isn't it? So that's just the way darkness and light is. When light comes into a space, darkness disappears. That's the same way when you get a knowledge of something, ignorance disappears. High stress levels. You see, we've had, these are practical, you've seen it in the lives of people close to you, family members, even parents, uncles. There was a time they were doing very well. Then afterwards, you just realize, oh, nothing. Sometimes it has nothing to do with family issues or whatever the case is. Most of them are pretty much just based on ignorance, and then it is still not their fault. If they've got the knowledge, they would have done better. But the knowledge wasn't there. And knowledge is no respecter of either you know me or you don't know me. And that's the reason why I always say that. I said, I am not an emotional person. I'm confident to say it because the world we live in is not guided or ruled by emotions. Nah. Even the life we live personally is not sitting on emotions. So the same way, the work we do is not sitting on emotions. So if your work, your life you live, and the space you find yourself is not guided by emotions, why would one of the instruments that is used to transact be guided by emotions? So money is not emotional. So me, I am not always also emotional. What I want to do to money is to send it on an errand to go and get something back for me. That's my job. So I'm not an emotional person, as I always say. So don't be angry at me when I say that. It's just because I know the reason why I'm saying it, right? Now, if you have a system in place, you want one, if you financially you'll be stable. You have financial stability because you've put a structure in place. And with that structure is guiding every step you take. Without that guidance, you miss your path, right? That's what it is, isn't it? So then two, you'll be able to automate your savings with a system in place, just as we mentioned earlier. You'll be able to strategically, invest. So you're not just investing into hypes, you're not just investing into whatever people throw at you. You're investing with a mindset of, this is where I am, this is where I want to be in the next 15, 20 years. This is what I'm setting in place for my children. This is what I want them to have. Aside my children, this is what I also want to put in place. So when you look at all that, you put it into consideration, you realize that there is more to, what life has got to have. And then when you start seeing the growth, you'll be in a very relaxed place. I always tell people, not that one is a millionaire or one is whatever the case is, and not a serial entrepreneur or whatsoever the case is, but I am confident, not boastful, right? I am confident of where I need to be in the next, or where my financial status, I mean my home, need to be in the next 15, 20 years. Why? Because there is a structure. And it doesn't matter how much. It's not about the volume. It's just about the structure. Even if it is as little as 5,000 naira, I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with the volume. Whatever you have, if you structure it over that period of time, it can be anything. It doesn't even need to be stocks. It doesn't need to be whatever the case. But if you just have a strategy in place to say, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing real estate, I'm doing alternative investments, I'm doing stock investing, I'm doing stock trading, whatever you think you're good at, but have a long-term plan for that particular investment channel that you put in place, and what you see yourself getting out of it. So you look at it from the lowest level, the medium level, and also the highest level. So worst case scenario, in my own case, so my line of work as a BA is always put a kind of a buffer into whatever I do. And it's under project management. They call it critical assumption, right? So there is this what if. So I always put the what if into whatsoever that I'm basically working on or calculating. So what if status is the lowest level. So worst case scenario, I should be able to get this. Okay, with this lowest level, can I live a life that is moderate with this lowest level? If my answer is yes, that is it. So if I get onto the medium level, then it's a plus. Then if I get to the high level, oh dear. So you see me smiling. Not that I don't even have it, right? But I know I can. He said, that which you receive and you believe it, you will see it. That's the scripture. And the word of God remains constant. It is alive. So whatsoever you can believe, and that which you receive, you will see it. So that's the way it is also to this. So everything, to me, I bring it to life into that which I do, right? When it comes to personal finance. Then peace of mind. And that was, I haven't even talked about it, but you can see me smile. I just said it earlier, right? I'm basically just smiling because I've got the structure pretty much like in place. That is when you have a system. All right, cool. So we'll be quick. Now look at this illustration. Your salary is 250,000. Like now, imagine you have a system structured, like you have a flow where things are automated. The money comes in, 10% of it goes straight into savings. You may not be able to save 10%. That is understandable. This is just an illustration, like a scenario-based kind of a thing. It's not every home is different. Every individual, we are totally different. What we are dealing with is totally different. Some people, they are the sole breadwinner, right? Not just of their own immediate family, but also the extended family. So a lot of things goes out of their hand into other people's pocket just for others to kind of to survive. However, if you have a system in place, you can kind of set a level of limitations. No, not limitations, a level of limits to say, you know what, okay, I've been doing this wrongly. I can do this differently. I can bring it through this path, through this format. This should work. So that's kind of a thing. We'll probably get there. You pull 20,000 into investing, right? That means 45,000 is gone. Meaning 10% of your earnings goes into savings, right? 20,000 of it, maybe 8% of it goes into investing. 10,000 of the 250,000 goes into insurance. But people will tell you, you are fooling yourself. You are being, what's wrong with you? Why would you do that? Who pays insurance in this day and age? Just nod your head for them. Yeah, that's good. Let them do their do. You do your do. I always use the word like, do you. Nike will say, just do it. It's the same way too, to every individual. What they are saying to you is, this is our product. Use it your own way. Whichever way you want to use it, it suits you. Do you. Just do it. If you want to run, run. If you want to jump, we have your product. If you want to play football, we have your product. Whatever you want to do, if you want to play hockey, we have your product. Just do it. So when it comes to also your funds, you are solely responsible for how you kind of manage what comes into your hands. All right. So that is now all done before you even wake up. That's just by the side. But you are not the one doing it manually. Okay, then money comes into your account. Then I have to save this. Then you move the money by yourself to this particular account. Oh, I have to invest. Yeah, I'll be the one. Then you'll be the one to say, today, let me do 5,000. I can't. That 20. I'll use the money to do something else. That's when you're doing it manually, and you cannot get the same result as someone who automates, who's put an automation, automatically kind of put a flow in place that does that automatically, because most of the institutional instruments, financial instruments or products now, they have all those products in place. So that's financial freedom without you overwhelming yourself. Now, the 5-part personal money system. Okay, cool. Can you give me a sec, please? I just want to get water. Okay. Okay, cool. So the 5-part personal money system. Number one, your income. So this is the budget, the budgeting side of things. Now, what this is saying is know where it starts. Because basically, if you work and then you get paid, the money comes into your account. That's your income, right? Now, if there is no system, a control kind of in place, you spend uncontrollably. You guess, and you'll be thinking, how did I spend this money? Where did this money go to? Who did I give money to? How did I spend this? When did that happen? A lot of things will be flying through your head because truly you've spent it, because the money doesn't fly. It's just gone to the channel where you sent it to. Now, if you look at it from the beginning, uncontrolled spending, guessing where your money went, because that is happened to. Can anybody, by show of hands or by, it's an interactive session, just add to it? Is that right? Has anybody experienced that before? Listening. It's our talking time. No.
Sorry, sir. What's the question?
The question is, you received your money, right? Let's say you receive an income, and then you spent the money. The majority of the major part of the money is gone into something else. And then you now start trying to figure out, how did I spend it?
Sure, I've encountered that before.
Okay, so that's what happens when there is no a structured budget in place, because the budget is just to guide you to make sure that things doesn't go out of hand. Because as soon as it comes, you know that based on your first, second, third, fourth, fifth month, you structured your budget this part, for example, and then maybe the third month, you overspend, right? You spend because of something. Then you now look at it, you realize that there is an offshoot, right, of a particular level of spending if you use the budgeting template. So you can easily go back to say, okay, I spent this because of an event or something that came up, right? That was the reason why I spent this amount. Or I spent money more on this part. Let's say, for example, in the area of maybe household bills that you overspent, and you can go back to say, how did I do? What happened here? Easily, you can map it back to say, okay, it was because this happened, an event or something happened, that was the reason, or there was an unforeseen circumstances that came up and I had to attend to it. And that was the reason why I spent this. And then you can look through and you can easily just figure it out, right? There were leaks, and okay, fine. Next month, I will do better. It's just to be able to guide you on how you spend your money. So that's the reason why it's called the income control phase. Now, the second phase is to track your income. That the budgeting system allows you to track all your, record all sources of income, whatever that comes into you, and then you know what goes out, your income, your expenditures, and then you can also calculate average. You can determine your monthly income and expenses. Your incoming and also your outgoings, and then you can average it maybe over 6 months. For example, you can say, okay, maybe with my 500,000 naira salary on a monthly basis, on average, I don't normally spend more than 400. Then the day you spend 460, then you think about it, what happened? Something must have happened. Then you can easily trace it back. So it's more like being able to track your paths. Now, you can now control your spending. So it goes from the uncontrolled spending part to the controlled spending part, which is one getting more like being in a good place where you can direct your money to where it should go, right? Okay, cool. I think we'll run. So now down to smart savings. I labeled it as your financial seatbelt. Because if you drive and you don't have your seat belt in place, you know what happens if there is a collision? People are always putting in a very bad place. Because some people will hit their head on the windscreen. Some people, the steering, their chest on the steering. Some, they will get a cut. But in most cases, if you have your seatbelt, in as much as the vehicle didn't jump into water or a ditch or something, that will pretty much keep you like in a safe place. Then you can easily take it out, run out of the vehicle, or people will come and cut the seatbelt and then take you out of the vehicle. The same way, just think about it, an analogy. Bring that into smart saving. What happens is saving before spending makes you the boss of your money. It may be difficult, but trust me, it's one of the most easy, I wouldn't call it easy thing to do, but at the same time, when you start practicing it, it becomes part of you. Then you see the benefits over time. Because what happens is you realize that you're saved. You know, I call it saving money. You now realize that that money you saved can actually save your life in times, critical times when you never expected it. And that was the reason why they always talk about emergency fund. Emergency fund is the kind of money you can fall back to quickly when something happens, something you never expected, maybe a job loss or something. Something can just health reasons. Something can basically but the savings you put in place, you can easily fall back to those savings and then address things. So you don't find yourself in a very bad spot. Now, no savings, that's the beginning. Living as your money comes, your money goes, your money comes, your money goes. It is no crime. That money comes into your hand, money goes. If you know better, you do better. However, now you've gone through the training, you can start putting that and letting that sit within your mind to say, you know what, I can't spend everything I earn. Maybe currently where one is, what one earns is not enough to take care of the home. That means you have to start thinking about what else can I do to upskill, not just to upskill, but to improve, my earnings. But if you don't have a budgeting system in place, you won't be thinking of why I should save or why I should add something more to what I do so that I can be in a better place, to kind of run my affairs. So no savings. Then you build a safety net, which is for unexpected expenses, as I mentioned, emergency fund. Then you automate your savings, right? And then you find yourself having a peace of mind and future opportunities, because definitely opportunities will come. As soon as you start saving and you can save at least the money that can take care of your own just in case something happens, then you have to start thinking of investing. Because there is no point saving. It's just like the rich fool, right? He made so much harvest. He looked at it, oh, I've made so much harvest. I need to expand my barn so that I can store. So himself, he was thinking of storing, not thinking of multiplying, like having been able to multiply things. And God said to him that you fool, that all you do is this. That means you are not adding value. Then your life will be demanded of you. That scripture. Back to smart savings. It is the word of the Lord is a living word. It said, the word that I speak unto you, they are spirits and they are life. We are not just humans. We are also spirits. So for everything that comes out of our mouths is spirit-filled. It now depends on where you want to channel it into. If it is something wrong, continue. I've lived the life, so I understand what it means to live in the wrong part of life. So, but now life is so serious, right? So let's go on. This is not preaching. It is personal finance, right? All right. So part 3.
Michael, can I ask questions at the end?
No, you get good. It's an interactive session. So
okay. So that part of automating saving for me sort of has hit home, yeah. But
which one? Sorry, I didn't get it.
Automating saving, yeah. Automating.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that by the time you wake up, everything has gone where it needs to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you use if For you personally, what do you use? Do you have
Okay,
your
so
bank account where salary comes in and then you have, I don't know, some app or software that does all that? I don't
yeah.
know.
So for a good example for in my own case, I use two platforms. So I use Plum. I'll share the link if you want me to. I'll share the link so you can. I use Plum and I use Cheap. Plum is one of the best savings platform, and at the same time as Cheap. Cheap is AI automated in the sense that it even tells you based on what you have in your account, you should be able to save this amount. So let's say, for example, you earn £2,000, right? Or you earn £5,000. As soon as that salary comes into your account, what Cheap does, it will tell you, oh, based on what comes into your account, oh, you should be able to save £800. It takes you to your extreme, depending on how you set it: aggressive, medium, moderate, or low. If you put it like in moderate, it probably say to you, you can save, you should be able to save £800 based on what's in your account. It will tell you, should I go ahead? If you say yes, it picks it straight, it saves that money for you. If you say no, it leaves it. Then 4 days after, it prompts you again to say, oh, you should be able to save, you should be able to save £250 from what you have in your account. So when you look at it, you'll be like 250, 4,000 plus. All right, yeah, save it. Boom, it saves it. So before you know it, you can look down the account if you don't touch it over after maybe 6 months, and what you see, you'll be surprised at what you personally, you'll be like, so you mean from what my income, this can come out of it as savings? That's one of the then I use Plum. Plum is more known than Cheap, and Plum also has its investing arm. It has this cash ISA. Also for Cheap does the same. They have cash ISA. They have stocks and shares ISA also on this platform. But basically, what I use it for is for savings. I don't use the investing side of Plum is a paid version, like you pay for like a plan. I'm not ready to do that. I use other platforms for investing, but I use it to save. So I can share. I can share I'll send the link to you. If you want to, you can make use of it. It's actually very. I'm saying as in very good. And also, there is also an automated part of it which tells you based on what you spend. You know what they do with money box, right? Even the banks now, our banks, institutions, they do it where you like a roundup. Let's say you go to Tesco, you go to Morrison's, you spend £3.80. It saves £20. It saves 20p for you, just to round it up to £4. So it does that.
Cheap. Is it CHP?
The Cheap is CHIP. The Plum is PLUM. Don't worry, I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link via I can share it. I'll share it on the platform, so you can have a look at it. I'll send you the link for it. Is that okay? Are we here?
Hello? Yes, it disconnected a little, but I heard about Plum and Cheap.
Yeah, I'll send you the referral link for it.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you very much. That's helpful.
No
Yes.
worries. Another question? I thought you're trying to ask something else.
Oh, who, me?
Yeah.
No, it was the automation. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's as easy as it is, but it's just for one to know when to do it, how to do it. That's all. And as soon as you set it up, that is all. You don't bother yourself. You don't even need to check it. You can only check it if the money goes into it. And you'll be like, oh, okay, save this one for me. That's fine. Then you just carry on with what you're doing. All right. Now, the part 3 is the investing. And what I call the investing part, which is the week 3 part, is your growth engine. Like I always say, I said I don't save. I don't have savings. However, the reason why we mentioned having an automated system set in place for savings or for investment is because you need money to run some stuff, which is to address some unforeseen issues, right? That's what the savings for. Let's say, for example, you're trying to buy a property and then you wanted to do more of like Lisa. Lisa also, in a way, is a saving. Is a savings. However, is a savings that looks basically that works like an investment, like you investing, because for every amount for up to £20,000 you put in, the government gives you 25%, right? So, for example, now you put in 10,000 for that particular what's it called? Whatever year, right? They have 25,000, then 25% to it. So 10,000, you get 2,500 from the government, making it 12,500. And if you invest that money, you may not get 25% returns rate on your investment. So they're encouraging people to use Lisa so that they can get onto their property, get onto the property ladder, kind of a thing. So that's a way government supports, which is not bad, which is a good one. 25% is no joke, but that's a way of also savings, right? Now, when it comes to investing, is your growth engine. Meaning, one, the key part is you start small. Consistent small investment compounds over time, making it accessible for beginners. And that was the reason why I said beginners. Either you're a beginner, either you're a professional investor, what you do is that you invest. And there is a guiding principles when it comes to investing. Fine, you put money in. You put money into what you believe in. And then when you put money into what you believe in, what you're looking at is growth. And depending on the kind of investment you're trying to do. So if we look at it from the stock investing point of view, some might decide to say, you know what, I just want to do growth stocks. I don't want to care. I don't have any concern with dividend investing or value investing. I don't care. I just want growth, right? And they go for growth stocks or growth ETFs. People love dividend, to be paid dividend maybe on a weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly basis, yearly basis. They go for dividend stocks, right? So depending on what your goal is, if you have mixed goals, right, you can decide to choose whatever. Some people decide to say, I want to invest in real estate or in real estate, and say I want to do land banking, or I want to buy properties and then maybe rent it out, or buy properties and then use it as Airbnb, or build it by myself, or whatsoever the case is, or do fractional home ownership, things like that. But they just decide on a goal, and then the investment will within the investing channels, and then just the investment channel, and just go with it. Split the investment, meaning don't put all your eggs in one basket. Even the scripture says you cast your bread upon the waters, right? And some unto 7, some unto 8, because you do not know which one will basically yield more than the other. Are you asking a question, Madam Ito? Okay, okay.
No, sir, I wasn't.
All right, cool. So, meaning your investment you shouldn't place everything
So
in
can I
one
ask a
basket.
question here? Yes, please.
Yeah,
Can I? Yes,
yeah,
please.
cool.
Can I ask?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, so if somebody is really inspired, like I am, to start like this month, and say I've decided to invest £100 every month because we said start small, what would I do? Because I don't want it to pass me by. And today is like our last day, isn't it? So yeah, so I'm ready. I hear you, I understand, and I want to start. What do I do? Where do I go from here?
Let's a good example. In my own case, if I want to advise anyone that is just starting, I would advise the person to start with ETFs, which is exchange traded funds, right? Now, let's say, for example, you open an account with Invest Engine. When you open the account, you select the ETF stocks that you want to basically invest into, right? You add it to a portfolio. It's like having a portfolio, maybe 2 or 1 or 2 or 3 ETFs. You add it to that particular portfolio. So that portfolio is created just for that, your investor, as an investment, right? And then you fund the account. When you fund the account, then you can allocate, let's say, for example, you have three ETFs that you selected, and you're putting in £100, right? And you want it to be run on a monthly basis, £100 monthly into this investment, right? Into this one of your investment. And then what that happens is you now build an allocation for that portfolio. Let's say you make it 40, 30, 30, meaning I want 40% of this £100 to go into ETF 1. I want 30% to go to ETF 2 and 3. As soon as you set that up and you activate it, it starts running. And then you now connect because for you to be able to fund the account, you've already connected your bank account, your account to, or where your source of income comes into. You've connected it to the investment platform. That was why I said, for example, maybe Trading 212 or Invest Engine or Fidelity or Vanguard, whatsoever the case is. We're just using Invest Engine, right, for today. And then when you do that, it's already connected to your bank account. So as soon as you take that £100 out, it splits it straight to that portfolio. So it goes 40% goes to ETF 1, ETF 2, 30%, ETF 3, 30%. And that is what it's going to do on a monthly basis. So when the month ends and another month is kicking off, based on the date you have selected within the month, let's say you chose the night of every month, it will pick £100 from your account and invest it, split it into the portfolio, split it into each of those ETFs within the portfolio. It's going to do that on a monthly basis. And that means at the end of the 12th month, you have £1,200 invested into that, your investment, which is your ETF investment. Maybe you name it anything. Maybe you name it my children's ISA, or you name it my retirement fund or something. You just name it whatever you want to name it, ABC. And then you now realize that it pulls in £1,200 into that particular investment on a yearly basis, and it's done monthly, taking £100 out. Now that will run. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter either the market is up or everything has crashed or the whatever is happening in the system. It does not matter. It doesn't work with trends, right? What it does is on a monthly basis, it invests for you. It invests £100 into that particular portfolio on a monthly basis. And what they call that also is called dollar cost averaging, DCA. But for example, we are in the UK, it's called PCA, pound cost averaging. For our Nigerian audience, it's called NCA, naira cost averaging. The same way it's just cost averaging, your currency cost averaging. So this month, maybe it buys high. Next month, it buys low, a little bit low. The third month, it buys lower. And then the fourth month, it buys medium. So it pretty much is following the flow. When you now average it over a period of time, you now realize that, let's say, for example, you bought something at £11, you bought the next one at £8, you bought the following month at £10, you bought the following month at £7. It's going to figure it out that way. So 5,000 at some point, you bought more shares, and then okay, for example, let me put it this way, let me get you confused. £100, right? And then that £100, let's say, bought you let's say 120 or 200 units this month, and then next month it bought you 180 units. Then the third month it bought you 220 units. then the fourth month, the same amount is buying you different amounts of units based on what the price of the ETF is in that particular period. So over the period of time, it's going to average it, and then you now realize that you are actually in a good place. So at the end of the day, that's why they said the S&P 500 over time, over the 100 years, when they tabulate it over 100 years, it averages around 11%. So meaning if you have 11% over a period of 20 years, what would that be? And if it goes higher than that, what would it become? That's investing, right? It's just as simple as it is.
Okay.
However,
Michael,
just need to be,
do we have
yeah.
cryptocurrency ETFs?
Yeah. So currently we have Bitcoin ETF, we have Solana ETF, we have Ethereum ETF, we have Bitcoin Cash ETF, we have Cardano ETF. So you have the major houses, right? JP Morgan, BlackRock, IB, what's it called again? I think that's for is it? Yeah, we have the one for for BlackRock. We have the MicroStrategy one. We have ARK Invest. So they have their ETFs, right? Yeah, cryptocurrency ETFs kind of available. But in my own case, I don't do cryptocurrency ETFs. I do cryptocurrency assets, like digital currency assets. So I only work around Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. That's why I buy it, not the ETFs, but I buy the real currency itself. Okay, so
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries, man. So we moved into the next phase, which is to automate your investing. That's what basically I've just explained, right? You automate it. When you automate it, you can see it says setting up automatic transfers ensures regular investing without manual effort. So you don't be the one to put it in. It does it by itself. And then you diversify wisely, meaning you don't just put all your money into just one particular investment vehicle. Like I said, in our own case, we do land banking. We have ETFs as a portfolio. We have
Michael, what is land banking?
Yeah.
What is land
banking? So
yeah.
like in Nigeria, you buy a land and then you leave it for a period of time. So let's say you bought a land in Uganda, for example. You bought a land for 5,000 Ugandan shillings, for example. And then you bought it this year. And then you looked at it and say, I don't really need it now. Let me do all the paperwork and then just fence it, or be running some things, maybe agricultural, whatever, in the compound, or just lease it to somebody and let them make use of that particular spot. Then you decide to say 2040. I think I want to use this land now. By the time you get there, based on how our system works, let me use Nigeria, for example, which is the same way it cuts across major African countries, right? Or developing nations or developing countries. You see, they tell you, Peter, promise, you can relate to what I'm saying now. So they tell you a land is, this land is 10 million naira, right? This year or last year, they said it was 10 million naira. And then you'll be like, yes, I'll get this land. Yeah, 10 million. Yeah, okay, cool. And then you look at it, say, I think this money, I want to use it for something. I'll buy it next year. Trust me. When you come this year, the same land they tell you it was 10 million last year, if it is a viable area, you get back and they tell you the land is now 17 million. So you're almost buying it for twice the amount. Meaning the land it has grown 70% growth. So your return on your investment is 70%. However, the economy itself, the inflation rate in the system is 22% or 19%. Meaning you now have to take 19, 20 or whatever the percent is out of what you think you've gained. So if the land is increased by 50%, which is now 15 million, right? It means that the value of the land itself, if you check out, if you consider the inflation rate, is only worth 30 million, meaning 2 million out of the land is gone to inflation, right? But you've gained 30%. 20% is gone to inflation, 30% is gone to you, aside your, cost, your principal. So that's what land banking is. We've seen people who bought land years ago. Like I can give you a very good example in my own home. My dad bought some land like that in a particular area in a state called Ondo State, right? He bought 60 plots, which is 10 acres, and he bought a plot for 10,000 naira. Then that was year 2000, sharp 2000. Now, fast forward, this is 2025. A plot in that same location now is, to be modest, is around 800, 900,000. Yeah. 10,000 in 2020, in year 2000. 25 years down the line is 800,000. So you see, and that's the same way it is into many other places. That's one. We have another one like that in Lagos. They bought it almost the same amount, about 10,000, 5,000 naira, I think. Currently, in that particular spot, they bought around 10,000 a plot then. In that spot now is around 1.2 million. And they bought that 1990, 1991. So that's what land banking is. So you make serious profit. And we've seen major investors like that in Nigeria, like the Okoyas. That's one of his major strategies. He's actually the biggest when it comes to land banking in Nigeria, where other people started learning from him. And we have also two people that are also very respected people. He's also one of them. I'll say the two of them is also a mentor when it comes to real estate. One of them is Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. He knows his stuff and he's big when it comes to real estate. The other person is Dr. Stephen Akintayo. He's also big when it comes to real estate in Nigeria. So I'm basically stating it as it is. So I'm speaking it from the place of fact, not theoretically, right? And as I said, we also do land banking. The one we bought 2021, yeah, 2020, just about 4 years now. The average of what we got there in a particular place was around 400,000. It was more of like a farmland, right? For an acre. And then currently it's selling for around 1.2, 1.3. So, all right, cool. Our time is fast spent. So let me run this through quick. So then you diversify wisely. So we do real estate. We do proper ETFs. So allocated our retirement fund to ETFs, not individual stocks. And then our own normal investment, we do individual stocks mixed with ETFs. And then we have crypto assets investment, which is just on Ethereum and Bitcoin. And that's it. And the plan for that is the next 15 years. We started like about 4 years ago. So we have 20-year plan for it. And it's going to be the same DCA. So we're DCAing the same way we're DCAing on stock investing, the same way we're doing that. So we know quite well where Bitcoin is going to be. It's either it vaporizes or it becomes the next big thing. And that's why every other institutions are scrambling into it now. And that's just the truth. So for investment houses, institutional investment houses like BlackRock, JP Morgan, MicroStrategy, ARK Invest, jumping into it, you should know that there is something big happening in the background, right? All right, cool. So that's not for today. Cool. So 4, protection. We discussed this. We had worked on this last week, which is protection, right? Protecting your wealth. It doesn't matter even if it's 1,000 naira. It is your wealth, but you need to protect it, and it goes beyond just the money. It has to do with everything: family, your well-being. What if you are no more? Can your world, your loved ones, actually be in a good place and also in a good state of mind, right? So your financial insurance shield, right? Now, a single 5,000 naira insurance plan can prevent a 2 million naira crisis. And we discussed about this last, where we used a scenario where a shop owner or a store owner insured a store, a provisional store, and then with 5,000 naira, using platforms like IBTC, pension insurance, and other insurance houses, Mary Stem Insurance, and all that, Leadway, and then the property got burnt. Whilst others were crying, she was entitled to a premium because she insured it. So maybe when she was doing it, some of them were telling her, "You're just fooling yourself, right? Your money is gone to the ruins. Your money is gone to the waters, blah, 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 blah." However, when the unforeseen happened, she was in a good place, right? And that's likewise, it cuts across others: life insurance, business insurance, content insurance, like you insuring your content, laptops, TVs, whatever things that you think is dear to you in your property, home insurance, and all that. But I know quite well we insure so many things, but we don't insure our lives. And when we lose it, then we put our families, our loved ones, in a very bad place, bad shape, bad place, be it mentally, psychologically, financially, in most cases in a bad place. Because what we always say is, "Oh, it will never be my portion." Are you expecting me to die? Truth is, you die. It's a good thing to experience death. He said, as soon as you die, the next is you'll be with your father. Judgment. So nobody wants to die, right? But everybody wants to go to heaven. Huh? It's a very simple thing. You can't run it. Even Methuselah died. Methuselah, 900 and something, he died. So we are all going to die. Nobody is getting out of this place alive. It's not going to work. So you either do it or you do it. But if you don't do it, you're the one fooling yourself. It's as simple as it is. And I used some analogy. I said, even our bishop, our GOs, they insure themselves. Our pastors, our imams. I said, even herbalists and animalists, even vegans, they insure. Those who are vegans, "Oh, I don't eat animals, I don't eat meat." Everybody, they insure themselves. Even wizards and witches, they they insure themselves. Then we can insure everything around us. But that thing that holds every other thing together, we don't want to insure it. It will never be my portion. And you end up seeing the person dead. Dead, nothing to show for it. Putting the family in disarray. Well, that's not the best way to go. Financial knowledge is really key to always put the family in a very good place. You've seen so many wealthy families, and as soon as the breadwinner is taken out, you just find them in a very bad place. Many of them never wanted, but they didn't know better. If they knew better, they would have done better. But so that's the reason why the training is actually necessary, so we can open our eyes to things happening around us, so we can get the right things done, so we put our people and ourselves in a better place. Protection still continues. So I just used these 3, but I think we talked about 7 or 8 different insurance that is needed. I think, like in my own case, I have critical illness insurance, I have income protection insurance, and I have life insurance. Right? Some people might have more than that, and some might decide to just have just one. But it's good at least have one. If you don't want to have any, have life insurance. Health insurance is really key. Like in Nigeria, we have some HMO systems in place. where even if you fall sick and the rest, the medications you get will cover what you have paid for, you know, on a monthly basis or on a quarterly basis or yearly basis. That's really good, right? Now, part B, which is the legacy side, we mentioned the will. And I always like putting something, is like a nudge on the bottom side of it. It's a wealth that is not structured disappears in one generation. And quite well, that's what I said earlier. We as I'll call it we as a people, because basically we're addressing Nigeria, right? But in context, in context, our wealth in most cases ends with the first generation. But when you look at others, for example, look at the Rockefellers, look at the Rothschilds, right? And many other families, right? Currently, because of the knowledge they have, financial knowledge that they have now, they have an estate plan in place where they've even structured the way money should be spent within the family, even for the unborn children. Why they put those structures in place is for the family to be able to run without running out. Let me put it that way: to run without running out. So your family continuity plan, that will put a structure. The structure will put some level of stability, more of like in place. To say, okay, for example, if you earn well, you enter that space of wealth, you can decide to say, okay, for my children, this particular percentage of my not my income, but my returns, my profit should go to, let's say 7% should go to my children, 5% should go to charity, whatever it is. It's just a way of structuring something so that they don't end up killing themselves and end up, you know, ruining the old legacy. That's why it's good to have some kind of legacy continuity plan in place. Now, if you look at this, it said one, will, write a will. People will say, me, why should I write a will? Are you expecting me to die? As I said earlier, everybody will die. And that word is so good. The way you live is the same way you die. It's as simple as it is. He said there is a time, a season to plant and a season to harvest. A season for winter, a season for summer. Is in as much as the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, it will stay. Meaning life and death is just a side to one. At some point you're living, at some point you go. But what we always pray for is to live a good old age, right? But with the good old age, you should have a will in place. So when you leave, your loved ones will be in a good place because they know that this should go to this person, this should go to this quarter, this should go to that, this should go to this. There are no issues, right? So draft a simple will to ensure assets are distributed as desired. 2, keep copies. Say, that's why you see people have their legal representatives, right? They have legal institutions that manages that. So just in case that happens, you see a legal representative will come and say, okay, for this family, the mother or the father, they had a will, will be coming to read the will to the family. They said this should be structured to this should be structured to that. This is what is laid down, this is what is laid out, and this is the way it's going to be done. No issues, no rancor, no fights, no legal battles. Then you now teach money habits. We have so many parents that are so ignorant to the point where it becomes, I see it as a wicked thing. They run their business, they make money, right? But their children doesn't even know how they make money or how the money comes by, right? They just buy them expensive things. They just buy them things. They just buy and then just give them. And then just, when they ask them, do you know what your father or your mother, what they do? I know they run business. I know they make money. But they don't even know how money works. They don't even understand that. But Now that when one is kind of in a place of knowing, it is important to educate children. We educate our children about financial responsibility for their future. Because if most of the things we, like in my own case, I do say it. I said, I caught it at 38. If I knew this in my teens, I would have done better in my early 20s, right? So it's just as simple as this. So you can relate it back to yourself. Like in my own case, I can relate it back to myself. Not that my parents were wicked. They were not wicked. They provided all that I wanted when I was actually growing up. They spoiled me because I was the last born, right? However, I misused what they gave to me. They gave it in, in good faith, right? You need it. And in most cases, I was actually lying to them to get most of those things. So if it had been that I actually lied, I got it, then I put it into use, into, very, very good use. It would have become something, so I would have multiplied it in different ways. But then there wasn't anything of sort because I didn't know better, right? Okay, cool. Now, I think we have to do it to round up because of time. Now, this is just a, I call it the 70-20-10 flow. Basically how you structure your budget. Sometimes people use the 50-30-20 rule, which is one of the most common. And some people use the 70% rule, meaning they be it everything they spend, every of their expenses would not go beyond 70%, including savings, and everything wouldn't go beyond 70%. The rest 30 goes into proper savings. All that they spend, they cannot spend beyond 70% of their total earnings. Some people use such budgeting system. So let's say, for example, you have a 70-20-10 rule. I do it differently. I do 50-20-10-10-10. That's what I do because I pay tithes. Some people will be like, what's tithes? I don't know anything about tithes. What are you telling me about tithe for? So it's totally different, right? The way we kind of do things. Now, it says how to structure your money, right? Now, look at this. You earn. Think about your living expenses. So rent, food, transport, family support, whatsoever the case is, every of your expenses shouldn't go beyond 70% of your total earnings. Yours might go beyond. It doesn't matter. But this is a kind of a guide, like a guiding part to say it should be within this particular structure. You shouldn't do less, right? You shouldn't do less, right? And then we move to 20% of it for financial growth. So savings, investing, insurance, whatever the case is. Like in my own case, my own insurance sits within my living expenses. Savings, investment goes into the financial growth. And then 10% goes into tithe, charity, whatsoever personal development the cases. My own personal development sits within between my financial growth and also my living expenses. But this is just a kind of a framework, right? Now, we move on to the next. Now, this is a tip. If one creates, so it's like saying, create 3 to 4 accounts for structure. It doesn't mean you should have 4 different accounts. But if you have up to 4, it's not bad. That means it's as if you know what you're doing and you've set a goal for each account. So let's say, for example, your income comes, and then your income goes into, for example, GT Bank. It goes into your institutional, into your bank, right? Traditional bank. And then you look at it to say, you know what? I think since I invest and I automate my investments, let me have a particular account for investment So let's say, for example, here in the UK, you have NatWest as your salary or whatever, your income comes into NatWest. And then you want to invest. You can decide to maybe open an account with maybe Barclays. And you know that that account is the sole purpose for that account is for investment. So a particular amount is taken out of your account. Let's say, for example, 10% of your total earnings is for investing. So your £3,000, 10% of it goes into Barclays account, which is your investment account, and that is invested into the investment you've set in place. Your savings account that you wanted to, maybe you want you use for emergency funds and the rest, you open another account, let's say Monzo or Sterling Bank or whatever the bank is, you open a different account for that. And then you now decide to do the one you use for spending. Let's say you have a cashback credit card, right? You use a cashback credit card. And then you put the cashback credit card, you use it to pay for things. So you put the money into the credit card. Let's say you spend it for a week, then you put the money that you spend, or you say you spend £100. Then you know quite well £100 will be taken out of your bank account from your salary account into your Tesco credit card or whatsoever the case is. That means you have like 3 or 4 or 2 or whatever the case is. This is just a way to structure the kind of account that you have that is addressing every key financial product that you're basically investing or you're using, right? All right. So the last bit of it is commitment. I think we've done some stuff over time. And I knew quite well some of you joined a bit late. However, some of the recordings are available, so I'll share it with others, you guys later. First, automating your activity. So one is to automate one financial activity before next week. So for us on the call, I'm challenging you as part of your commitment to automate at least one financial activity before next week ends or before the end of next week. Be it savings, be it investing, be it your insurance, you need to set up one. 2, you go through the legacy, protection and legacy part, right? And then you write your action plan. This is what I want I'm writing my 6-month financial action plan. And this is how I want it structured. It just rough sketch, right? This is where I am currently. This is where I want to be in the next 6 months. I want this to be done. I want this to be done. I want to have my budgeting system set up. I want to be able to automate my savings in the next 6 months. I want to start. I've just started investing for this particular period of time. And then it will be good to start seeing that we share insights in the group. So we have a WhatsApp community shared, right? So anything that comes to your mind, maybe clarification or an aha moment or something you found fascinating, basically share, and then we can discuss about it or around it. Okay. So I think that will take us to the end. Okay, right? So thank you guys for joining, and I believe you've learned 1 or 2 things. However, there is room for Q&A. And whilst we're doing the Q&A, you can ask any question, anyone that comes to your mind. Let's address that as quickly as we can. And whilst we're doing it, I put in, what's it called? A survey questionnaire, right? Just for us to be able to attend to. So if you look into the chat, you see the survey questionnaire, or I can send it again. So I would urge us to kind of complete it. However, whilst we're doing that, questions questions. Promise, questions. Madam Lydia, questions. Madam Itel, questions. I'm waiting. Bombard me.
Okay, I was
So we
filling
have,
in the survey, but let me ask and then maybe.
yeah, cool.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Michael. It's been incredible. I think I missed out a lot on the budgeting part. I wasn't here anyway.
Yeah, so we
And
have for that.
I think I'd really like to learn that.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Now, you said your flow is 50, 20, 10, 10.
Yeah.
I understand that 10 is tithe. What is the other 10?
Okay, so my needs, 50%. My wants, 20%.
Yeah.
Tithe, 10%.
Okay.
Savings, 10%.
Okay.
Investing,
Okay.
10%. So sometimes the investing
Okay.
and the savings goes into investing.
Okay. Thank you. Now, Michael, I don't want to as in for me, I don't want to be the last. I want to follow you. Are you going to run any of these anywhere? What happens? I just don't want it to die. I just want to stay here because for me, it's really eye-opening. And you know, I've heard a lot about finance before, but for some reason, this one, I'm just ready to move because it's easy, it's accessible. Start with little, be consistent. Don't be greedy, you know. It really speaks to me and I want to stay. So yeah,
You
so
want to stay.
how do we go for Ajih? Because I want to stay. I want to stay. So that also me in many years' time, you know, I have these huge portfolios that came from little by little. Yeah.
No, I don't get the question. All right, so I'm still waiting for the form to be completed. So let me stop sharing. Right. But you can see me, right? Can you see me?
Yes. Did you hear my question?
Yeah, so I said I didn't really get the what you said you want to follow me, right?
Yeah, as
Okay,
in
cool.
I don't want this to end. Today is the last one, but for me, I would like to carry on. Yeah. As in how
Yeah,
do
so for
I stay? How do I stay? Because for me, it's
yeah, okay, so
beneficial, but
we have the
obviously,
WhatsApp.
it's a WhatsApp group.
Yeah, so we have the WhatsApp group, and you have my contact, so you can reach out. I know
Okay.
sometimes you mentioned something that had to do with a one-to-one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, so if you reach out on WhatsApp on the community, the WhatsApp community, we can take it through, then look into the one-to-one is more of like a personalized session, right?
Yeah.
That wouldn't basically be free. And the reason why I
Yeah.
said that basically free is there must be room for commitment and there must
Yeah.
be room for doings. And you know why I said so? Like what we've
Yeah.
done now, the training we did now,
Yeah.
no one would basically, few people would pretty much teach you for free. And you know, they always say something that people don't take seriously. People don't take free things seriously, right? People don't take free things seriously. We have about 40-something people on the group. However, what I've come to realize is many want to eat their cake and at the same time have it. Because there is no financial commitment. So they can be there, and if I want to, and if I don't want to, so people will tell you, you know what, there is no free lunch in free time. If your blood is committed to something, you'll be forced to be there. He said what's the what scripture says? I'm trying to remember. It's like saying where your heart is, right? That's what you be committed to do. So on that note, if it has to be personalized, there must be a level of commitment where you have to take it seriously. One, two, if you know that this involves your money, you take it seriously as life and death. Because people take it as a joke. Personal finance or financial education, we take it as a joke until we are 70. You know when it sets in, actually, when it sets in, is around 62. When those who are working, like, working very hard, that's when it sets in, when they realize their pension is basically just £45,000. At 62, that's when people will start shout. And some people at 62, they have nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. Because they never thought of it. And then life eats. So that's when people start taking things seriously, which is not the best way to go. So this one is done for free. And I decided to, because I knew quite well, many people, we go through the pain, we go through it's like a phase in humans, like where we tend to run our lives like a roller coaster. And then when it gets to that time when we're meant to, start relaxing, that's when we now start putting in more effort, because now we can see that this is about life and death. I don't know if that makes sense. Because it's truly life, it's truly life and death.
Does.
When you get to your old age, and then you now realize that you don't have, that's when anxiety and fear totally sets in. If it is in Africa, yeah, you still have family members around you, you still have your loved ones around you. In the West, you are on your own. If you survive in your apartment, you don't survive in your apartment, nobody gives a hoot. It's just as simple as it is. And I'm saying it as it is because it is life and death. And I'm very passionate about this thing because I've seen people suffer for no reason. I've seen people known, like people that I'm not even close to, but I've seen them go through pain just because things like this were not structured. And it doesn't cost a blood. It's just the knowledge. As soon as the knowledge comes in, your confidence level, I'm telling you, it will go 5,000%. But for us to put in the work as Africans, we are very greedy, but we don't want to put the work in. We want to amass the world, but we don't want to put in the work that will make us amass the work. They will tell you, you go and do the work and come and tell me when it is time to put in something. So they want to benefit from your knowledge without putting the work in. And that is the reason why you see so many scams, like scams jumping from scams to scams. The last one that happened was, I've forgotten the name. People almost died. I was just looking. I wasn't feeling any form of remorse for anyone, be it on the basis of ignorance or not. At least if you get duped once, your brain should be able to tell you that I shouldn't be duped the second time. But trust me, we'll get duped again. Oh, God bless you, promise. It's called CBEX. CBEX. People took out money. They took out the retirement money, they invested it in CBEX, something that is fictitious, right? And then they got burnt. So when we put this together, I said to the other group, I said, this is only open to if you know and you are serious that you are ready to make, you are ready for a change in your financial status. Please join this group. And I knew the reason why I decided to do it that way. And I knew quite well the reason why I decided to make it free. And I'm telling you, from the beginning to the ending, is covering actually the full pillars, the old pillars of personal finance. The only area that were left out is taxation, and then full blast financial planning, which is something that is structured within this also. but we just left that part out. Taxation and then some few other stuff like college, going to college and all that. We just left all that out. But out of the pillars, we just said, let's cover 5 out of it. It's basically about 8. But let's cover, so house property is one of it, right? And then I have a question. How do you automate your savings when your wage or income flow is not consistent? Okay, so I'll come back to what I was saying, Madam Ito. So if your income flow is not consistent, that means maybe you do your own personal thing. You are a self-employed person, and then sometimes you make money, sometimes you don't make money. So what you do in this case is, there is something called rainy day. Rainy days is you plan towards the time you don't have. So let's say months January, February, March, April, May, June. Let's use those 6 months, right? And then January didn't go as planned. It didn't work well as expected. So what do? You decided to put in more work and the rest. And then in February, you did some work, maybe for someone or whatsoever, an organization, then you made some money. What you realize or what you do is you wouldn't run yourself out on the basis of what you earn for that month. Because what you think about is, for March, I need to survive. So how do you survive for March? And for March, right? Now you need to take some part of the portion of the money you made from February and see if that can take care of a little bit of March, for example. But if you realize that you make money this month, not this month, maybe 6 months within a year, then you now need to average what you have made for the 6 months and see if that can be spread across a year, for example. So let's say you always make, maybe in 2 months, you make like 300,000. And then you tried it again, over 4 months, you made maybe like 500,000. It means you only made 500,000 in 4 months. So what you need to do is, how can I structure myself with living within a 125,000 naira means? Meaning, is it 125,000? No, is it up to 125? Yeah, I think it's 125. So 2 months is 250. Yeah. So 4 months is 500. So can I actually survive on 125,000 naira a month? If I cannot survive on 125,000 naira a month, it means I need to do something quick and I need to do something drastic. Meaning, is either I look for a job to support what I'm currently doing. If I cannot find a job, can I upsell or add value to the same thing that I'm doing? Or can I look at ways to build a better customer base? Let's say initially you're dealing with 3 customers, and then the job comes, it goes, it comes, it goes. Then you have to think about, okay, can I increase this number of customers to maybe 6? Then you have to start putting a structure like, okay, how can I increase this to 6? As soon as you hit 6 customers, it means instead of just living on 500,000 naira in 4 months, that might probably become maybe 700 or what's it called? Maybe 700 or 800. Now, if you put 800,000 naira across 4 months, so instead of living on 125, now is increased to 200,000. So that's how you kind of just lean it out, and then you average it. When you average it, then you have to live within the means of what that can provide within that particular month. I don't know if that makes sense. Promise. Does that make sense? All right, cool. Yeah. Any more questions?
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
All right, you're welcome. I promise. Any other question? None, none,
If I
None?
have any
So-
questions, I'll reach out to you because I'll still go back and listen to the recordings. Yeah, because I missed a lot of some of the some parts of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'll get this ready maybe by Tuesday. It should be ready by Tuesday. So I'll put it on what's it called? The private side of the YouTube channel. So I'll put that in, and then the recording for the first week, which is week 1, week 2, and week 3. I'll put that also up. I think currently we have the I think we have week 3, week 4, and week 5. So that means we have week 1 and week 2, then week 6, which is today, to put up. So if you go through that, then you can come up with any questions at all. Use the WhatsApp group to just drop the question, then we can basically discuss it. That's the reason why we have it, is to brainstorm, to share insights, to clarify for clarification purposes, and also to learn. So that's what it is for. So we take it off from there.
Thank you, sir.
Any more? Okay, I think we can call it a day, right? I believe so. Are we good to end the call?
Yes, for me, I was going to ask something else, but I realized I can ask it privately, so there's no.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
So
thank you. Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. So when it comes to the personalized side, that will be it's pretty much one of the services that kind of offer. But that comes with a cost. All right, cool. So do have a wonderful week. Today is Sunday, hitting the ground running again from tomorrow, and find ourselves in a good place. All right, so have a wonderful day. And then subsequently, other calls, trainings will still basically be coming up, but it's going to be singular training. So maybe we'll take a particular area and then we just drill it down practically. So that's what we'll be doing that going forward. All right, awesome. Okay, cool.
Thank you
have a
so
great day.
much, Michael.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
God
All
bless
right.
you so much.
God bless us all. Amen. Have a wonderful day. Stay
Thank
blessed. Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
Yeah. Bye.